Flacco has
I
issues
think he
with the
said that
truth
shit to Wack
sometimes.
100.
Really?
Yeah, so Rob 49 hit me. I'm like, nah, that's a dub.
Okay, so since you mentioned him, what is the what spurred? When did you first find out that Wack 100 had any kind of issue with you?
I don't really remember, bro, because after I did the first interview with you, he followed me on Instagram, and he still follows me to this day.
Right.
I think it was the 6ix9ine shit.
Okay.
I did a video on 6ix9ine. I think that was the first time he said something about me.
Right.
And then it just propelled from there.
It's weird because you guys are supposed to be on the same team, where you're both people who are
Not necessarily.
well, not like that team, but like the wanting to like he's against snitching. He's clearly involved in exposing people for this type of stuff on Clubhouse. He takes a pretty hard stance on it. You're in the same boat, but then I mean, you do see Wack giving out passes to all kinds of people that you've reported on because he has connections with them in the industry and shit.
That, and then I see him make accusations against people where there's no proof, like 21 Savage.
Right.
And I think he said something about Pooh Shiesty.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't do that either.
His logic on 21 Savage is just like, oh, because you are an immigrant who came from the UK at some point, that means that you're required to speak, to be honest with the cops about everything that you've ever been involved in. Seems like a stretch to me.
Well, I mean, I think the gist of it was the type of visa that he needed. It was something to do with being a victim in a crime.
Right.
And 21 Savage was shot when he was like 21 years old and his friend got killed. As far as what he needed to do to obtain that, it could have been cooperating in the sense of, yeah, I got shot. I seen a black car. I don't know which direction it went. You could have gave any story, a fake story, whatever. But the thing is, how would that look for 21 Savage? Like, you're putting him in a weird situation.
Right.
You're accusing him of being a rat on shit that you've never even seen. But if he comes out and defends his name and says, I lied to the police, now what happens if they take his visa? You're putting him in a defenseless situation. So it's like, why even accuse somebody if you don't have the paperwork behind it?
Right.
That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? That's why we spoke on it when I did the interview from Boston.
Right.
You was asking me about that. I'm like, no, I'm not going for it. It's just like, I don't do that. And I actually thought Wack was smarter than he is. I thought he was the one getting shit. He's not. Shout out to Mickey Truth. She's actually the one that gets his paperwork.
He relies on other people in his Clubhouse world, right?
Yeah. Specifically, and I'm cool with her. You know what I mean? We've gone back and forth about cases. She's actually covered my case and told him, nah, Jake ain't a snitch. Why you defending him? You know what I mean? So it's like, it's the personal shit because she also stamped QCP snitched.
Right.
And that's Wack's mans. So shout out to Mickey Truth because she keeps it 100.
Right. But so with the Wack thing, like, what's his reasoning for like really having issues with you besides just?
Man, I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't care about that.
Just the fact that he
just wants to. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really get it.
Because I mean, shit really be affecting people's careers.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like when the QC shit came out, I guess he wanted to show that he's defending dude or whatever. And 6ix9ine, that's his artist, so he's gonna defend 6ix9ine. I really just don't give a fuck because I ain't gonna lie, nobody on the East really likes him anyways.
Wack?
Yeah.
People got issues with him out there?
Well, it's really just from the 6ix9ine shit. Like, how you gonna pick up the biggest rat from the East Coast and, you know, take him up under your wing? But that's like if somebody snitched on the West Coast, top snitch, and then somebody from New York signs him.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
But Wack is the same dude who's on, like, YG's ass because he, I don't know, allegedly, like, isn't from where he says he's from, or he's had a weird history in the streets or whatever.
I don't know the whole LA thing. I know that everyone that I've talked to from out here, none of them have ever said Wack's a real one. None of them have ever stamped him and been like, yeah, you should fuck with him. No one's ever said that to me. So maybe I just don't know the right people, but from multiple organizations, not just Blood, Pyru, etc., like all around the board, nobody's ever been like, yeah, that's the dude. So
interesting. I mean, Wack definitely comes in here with some real ones. He definitely seems like he demands respect from a significant percentage of people. But there's also a lot of people who I've heard over the years say that they don't fuck with him at all.
Maybe we getting off on the wrong foot. Maybe we just need to have a sit down and maybe we can come to a conclusion because me and him have never met. We really don't know each other.
Right.
So maybe if we had a personal understanding, it might be a different situation.
Yeah.
You know, there might be a mutual respect or somebody might get did like Kelpie, but either fucking way.
Yeah, I have a ton of respect for Wack, but at the same time, I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that he kind of picks and chooses who he's gonna go hard on.
You gotta stay relevant. So if he feels like what he's doing is keeping him relevant, and definitely is, you gotta do what you're doing.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting about the 6ix9ine thing with him is that he at first was saying that he was 6ix9ine's manager. Then at a certain point, like I said that the other day, I'm like, aren't you his manager? And he said, no, we work together, or that's my homie, or some shit. So I don't know exactly what changed there, but he's still got a relationship with him. He was just with him in Miami like the other day, and he FaceTimed me with 6ix9ine, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this conversation gonna be like? And 6ix9ine just goes, hey, yo, Adam, who's the biggest rapper you had on your show in the last 3-4 years? And like he asked me like 3 times, kind of like put me on the spot to answer. I'm like, probably Vaughn. And he goes, yeah, well, rah, rah, rah. And then he just starts talking about how he's #1 on the Latin charts or some shit. And I really didn't know what to say, because I'm like, I don't pay attention to that. I don't know about Latin music. It's great if you're doing well in that world.
I think 6ix9ine reposted me when the Boston Richie shit happened.
Really?
Yeah, and then Academics, I was on it was me, Academics, somebody else, and 6ix9ine on the Discord. I never spoke to him though, but we were all in the same like call, I guess. But he was basically saying like, yeah, if 1090 Jake says you a rat, you a rat, and he's like,
he's up there.
He's the fucking top.
Yeah.
You know, he stamps it. That's a big.
Because a lot of the stuff we're talking about with like Gunna, I mean,
well, this is the thing.
It's not really the same.
This is the thing about Gunna, bro. If Gunna's a rat, everyone else is a rat. And nobody likes to say that, because everybody took the same plea.
Right.
He's just the one that was famous, on video.
Yeah.
So it's like, if they didn't rat, he didn't rat. If he ratted, they all ratted. You can't just be biased in the situation.
So is it weird for you to see Gunna coming out and like his album seems like it was pretty well received? You did have a lot of the big rappers kind of shitting on him for it and everything, but it sold pretty well. It sold just as well as the Thug album. A lot of people said it's better than the Thug album. Does that like hurt you in your heart a little bit to see Gunna like apparently? It seems like he's gonna make it through this.
I don't really care, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't really. It doesn't affect me.
Do you believe that he got tricked into making that statement, or do you think that he knew what he was getting into?
Nah, you don't get tricked. You know what the fuck you're saying. It's not like he's fucking 15. You know what I'm saying? You're literally a grown man. You know what you gotta say. You know when your heart doesn't sound right when it comes out of your mouth. You're saying that, yeah, YSL is a gang. Yeah, I have knowledge of them committing crimes. But every one of them said that.
Right.
Young Thug's own brother took the same plea.
Unfunk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why isn't he a rat?
Right.
So it's like, it's picking and choosing.
I mean, he is, right? Or at least like based on what we've seen.
If Gunna is, then they all are.
Right.
Thug's the only one that can't snitch on his fucking self, so.
Do you think there's a chance that Thug gets out and kind of disowns everybody that took a plea, or or is that just going to be too detrimental to his social circle?
I don't even want to give my opinion on what I think is going to happen. I don't think it's going to be anything good, because it seems like he's the top person that they want to set an example with. So I think that right there is going to go left.
So you think he's the one who's likely to get smacked over the head with a long-ass sentence?
The worst punishment, yeah.
Yeah. It's wild that we have to wait this fucking long for it, and the trial seems like it's never going to happen.